Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing God of War Ascension on Titan difficulty, and this is my No Upgrade Run Plus. We're currently on Chapter 5 of 30. It is entitled The Village of Kirra. So I had to redux this video because the last time I did it for the walkthrough, I did not get the club here. And while I don't love the club, I still think it's a good weapon, and it has a move set that needs to be discussed. So this first fight over here has a Juggernaut by himself. He'll get some dogs to help him about 10-15 seconds into the fight, and then about 30 to 45 seconds after that, the second Juggernaut will spawn. So the biggest problem about this fight is that the chain grapple fails to an embarrassing degree. So you have to work with that, and it's just very frustrating. But what our goal is to get one of the Juggernauts to the top right and make him stay there so that we can just fight one at a time. So I'll show you that in a moment, but I want to talk about the moveset of the club itself. The club has 5 moves, technically, that I know about. The circle is the standard move for it. You can do a charged circle. You can do an air circle. You could also do a charged air circle. And then, of course, it has the discard. So I'm going to be doing all of those moves in this fight, save for the discard and the air circle, because I found that when I did air circle, I would fall into the grab that this enemy has, and that would give me an automatic fail because I was not tolerant of damage over here. But when you do this, you want to quick roll to the top right over here and then hug the right side of the area over here so that one of the Juggernauts will get stuck up there. It always happens. So battling a fast enemy with a slow weapon, the club, there's a couple of things that you need to know about it. After he does the stomp, the one he did right there, it's always safe to do a circle. It's just you'll never have any problems not staggering him. And when you're rolling away from him or moving away from him and he does a stomp, try your hardest not to roll, because the iframes might not save you from his stomp. His stomp has a ton of splash, so it's in your best interest to just block it. Other than that, you can always be safe with the circle attack if he's taunting, but you really have to watch out for his grab. So when you're at melee range with him, he will do a swipe, which is blockable, and he'll also do the grab, which is not blockable. So you've got to be really careful about that. And the thing is, too, the moves look kind of similar. But yeah, that's what we are doing. And if you want to, you can have him chase you down and have to get winded, and he has a long period of having to rest. But there's not much area to move around here and do that down here once I have an enemy up there trapped, because I don't want to get him untrapped. If I go up and to the left too much, he'll get untrapped. So now I can actually show you what we want to do. He'll taunt. He always taunts when you come back to him, so you can safely do a circle on him. And then what I like to do is just have him charge me. See, the problem is if you hit with the club the circle attack and you don't stagger this boss, there's no time to recover from an attack that he does afterwards. Whatever he does, you're going to get hit. It's just that much of recovery time. So what I'm going to do over here, instead of melee combat, because we just did melee combat with the other one, I'm going to roll away from him, let him huff and puff, and then fall. And then I'm going to show you a couple moves. See, there's the charged air circle. I really like that move. But if you don't let him run far enough, he won't fall down like this. So you have to give him a long chase before he does that. so that we can drop him like this. So I love that. I love that move. Now I did not show the air circle attack, but I'll show you it on the next fight. Now there's a sword down here. Would you like to get it, perhaps? Well, it is up to you. Whatever weapon you take to the next area, you're going to be able to get it back. The next fight has enemies with swords, so there's one of any number of swords you can get. There's also, if you decide to use the club over here, maybe to discard it, there's also going to be another club coming up near the end of the chapter. But I do have a skip for you that will enable you to do a high jump over here. But you first have to see that you don't need to use the block. There's a tutorial online. I believe a user named Findlestick83 has it. Because I was really curious. I'm like, there's got to be a way, and I did find that there's a good jump over here. So what happens is, the way I understand it, Kratos' jump counter, it doesn't reset necessarily when he touches the ground. There's a period right before you touch the ground that you still have the counter running. So if you jump just the moment before you touch the ground, you can get a little bit of extra height to enable you to do a jump like this over here. I'll show you right over here. And you can grapple onto it and then proceed with the to the next area. It's probably going to take you a few tries, but there's more than his video on it, I think. But I don't fight bugs unless I have to, so I'm just going to run past these ones over here, and then we'll come over here and we'll do the Fire of Ares trial. All of the trials with the elements are quite difficult because you invariably face all the different sorts of satyrs when you do this, and goat aggression in this game is really high. So I'm not going to be messing around too much showing the final move of the club over here, but when you are around less aggressive enemies, if you can get them clustered into groups and do an overhead circle attack, such as double jump and press circle, or double jump and hold circle and then release, that's actually safer. I'm going to show a little bit of it off over here, and then basically I'm going to discard the club and pick up a sword for the next part, because the sword can stun whereas the club can't. So also, so do you see now that we have a rage meter? Obviously, this is not a beginner's walkthrough, so that's something I shouldn't say as obviously, but anytime that you hear me say that I am fire dumping, or if you hear me say rage dumping, I don't mean rage dumping. When I say that, I always mean fire dumping. It's the same thing, but throughout the walkthrough, I interchange those words a lot. But if you hear me say rage dump, it means fire dump. So what is fire dump? Fire dump is when you get your rage filled all the way and you want to do the rage attack to stun an enemy, or set up a group for a stun, or slow down somebody, or if you want to get back to doing the standard 4-square attack. Because if you don't know, and don't let me forget too, anytime that you want to roll away from an area out of safety and you've got your rage filled up, if you do the combat roll, you'll preserve your rage. Now, I'm the one that, Big V may have named the Captain Planet Glitch, but I was the one that named the combat roll. I sound all proud and stuff having done it, but I like the name. I think it's a good name. It's suitable for it because it's one that makes sense. But so, say for instance, I've accumulated all my rage, but I want to get back to using the 4-square attack, because like I said, when the rage is filled out, the 4-square attack becomes the 8-square attack. And a lot of times you don't have enough time to do all of those hits safely. So you want to get back to doing square, 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 square with one of the elements. So you're basically just sacrificing or dumping the fire so that you can get back to doing the 4 square attack. That's what it means. So this fight up ahead I love. I really like this fight. I think it's just a good fight. It's a fun one and it's fair. And that's all you can ask for, I think. It's also pretty well balanced. Now, when the Satyr captain jumps down, I'm going to ignore him and I'm going to speed roll over to this location, and the javelin throwers up here have hardly any HP, so what you want to do is work on that build up, get your rage going all the way, preserve your preserve your combat roll if need be, and then light a charge in one of the grunts, or you can light it in the captain, and then if any of the grunts are near, the splash damage of the rage attack is going to hopefully hit somebody else, and then you can grab them. But you probably know this, but what you do when there is a subdued grab an enemy that's not grabbable unless you stun him. So when you grab that one, you want to make sure that you don't just run around with him and throw him. You want to eliminate him. So you want to take him and just run towards a solid surface and smash him. Try to get collateral damage as you're doing it, but be careful because sometimes you take too long and then this happens. I see this. That was a contradiction of what I just said, correct? But I was not wanting that to happen. It just happened. I couldn't get past the captain. But if you stand at the edge of the area, a lot of times the satyrs will just spaz out. You saw it earlier in this fight, actually. It really is a good enemy. The next part is pretty trashy. I love doing that. I didn't even know you could do that. I also have a correction. There was some point at later in the video, if I'm talking about a Daedalus warrior and I say that you can't launch it, is it a her? It's a she, right? It's a she. If you can launch the Daedalus warriors, the Amazonians, those blue gals, you can launch them. They have to be taunting though. But admittedly, this is a mediocre God of War, but still, even then, it's still fun. I enjoy it, but there's the feeling of like there's something missing too with this. Where are the challenges? There were always challenges. Where's Hades Kids Part 3? Bare hands. Now, the weapon we ran past right there is a sling, and I really hate it. All the weapons that you come across can be charged, even the sword. You can charge these weapons too. But this is kind of a junky affair over here. I'm going to pick up the sling. Oh, you know what? I might not even have intended to do that. I intended to just grab the harpy. They've made this enemy a lot easier because you can just stand there. I can't believe you can just stand there and block. And I also can't believe the Fire Talos enemy, when he shoots up into the air and he comes down, you can fucking block that too. Wow, I can't even believe it. And you're gonna see some good shit in this guy too, because Big V recommended a channel called Wolf 2K9 or something, and he had a lot of strategies that he did, and he did them the year the game came out, so he was way ahead of other people. And in one of his videos, he wrung out a Fire Talos in the furnace area by jumping over one of the flames and rang out the fire tail like that. So I did it too in this walkthrough, and I found it just so amazing that was possible. But things that I broadcast in walkthroughs such as this, it doesn't always mean that I discovered everything. There's so much that's already been discovered. So what I'm doing is I'm just sharing knowledge, but I do realize that it sometimes can come off as though I'm the one that, was the what do you call it? The pioneer of figuring everything out. I was not. It was people like Big V, and that's, I have to say something. He's a little rough. He is, and I'm pretty sensitive to criticism, but I set that aside because I respect him. But this guy is so ahead of anything that I can even imagine about God of War. This guy just loves God of War, and that is that's great. I mean, I always try to find people that know more than I do because I love this game too. But some of the things that we disagree with, as human beings. Anyway, so that's why I've decided to pin all of his comments, because he takes a long time to. Well, I don't know if it takes a long time, but he really puts a lot of effort into his comments, doing all those timestamps and everything. So this walkthrough is definitely. I mean, if someone's gonna write that much on every video, go ahead, have it. This guide is dedicated to him, to Big V. Anyway, we're this stupid fucking fight over here was difficult for me, and it all harkens to the fact that the chain grapple is so bad about detecting what it needs to detect. A lot of folks in the walkthrough have mentioned that I'm missing the enemies because the game thinks I want to hit breakable objects. So what I should do is hit breakable objects and then go after the enemies. Yes, I have tried that. Believe me, that was the first thing I thought of because they interfere. But I mean, they is the items that you smash. But no, it's just as broken and unreliable as ever. Also, when you see the dogs flash, what they're doing is they're signposting that they're going to do a charge at you, and they come right up to you, and I don't think they have any point at which they stop running to you, like if you're too far away from them. So if you see them flash, they are going to be coming to you, and if you don't block their attack, they will jump on you, and you've got to do that mashing circle nonsense. The dogs are just horrible. I'm gonna say it outright. I did discard the club, but it's really bad, the detection. Oh, sometimes they go into the house too, and they're a big nuisance. It's not that the enemy is hard, it's the mechanic doesn't fully work the way that it. Look, did you see what he just did? He tried to grab the column there, the pillar that's holding up the house. It's really, I mean, I can't even convey the depth of how bad it is and how much in need of improvement it is. There's a room over there with a bunch of treasure chests if you want to, but to get this to work right over here, all you have to do is complete this fight. So the fight that we just did is mandatory, and then it will give you that little glimpsing mark on the ground. There was a slight edit right there because I tried to jump on the block and it took like 5 times, so I decided, I'm not going to put that in the walkthrough. Kratos can't jump. He's got this certain amount of weight to him, and same goes with the Gorgons. They've they've made them heavy. They've made them not be able to launch. And they did something too that I just disagree with. When they grab you, you take damage. It doesn't matter. You're taking damage, and if you don't do the quick time event, you're going to take even more damage. If you complete the quick time event, I think you don't take any more damage, but it doesn't matter because you took damage just by getting grabbed. But what I'm doing over here is just light, heavy, and building up my rage meter. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just doing square attacks, and what I'm aiming to do rather is I want to have the enemy drop at certain times so that my super plume is going through the motions just as she drops, and it usually works. There's enough time to finish a super plume and then go for this. So all you have to do there is just continually press square and she'll drop. I don't know how much it, like when you grab her, I think I missed this one, but you might not even do any damage when you grab them, but I would think that you would damage them a little bit. You know, ooh, look at that. Ooh, that is there, man. Sometimes even if you jump too late, you know, because Kirra has that weight that I mentioned, but they never should have made this enemy like this where you can't launch it. I mean, you can launch the Satyr Captains, no problem. God of War 3 had the best ones, the best looking ones, the funnest to fight, and the fairest, and just they're so much better than this trash here. Damn, trash. That's a little extreme, I think. Maybe we ought not to be too hard on it just because we can't launch it. I'm not gonna complain too much and cry, but that is the end of chapter 5. We will be moving towards the cistern, which will be the 6th chapter, and that is exactly where I will find you. And when I do, I will ask you to please take care.